All right, so now we're going to move on, and the other thing that we're going to talk about here in this Met Report episode is the spoiler review of Super Mario Brothers the movie. So now this movie came out on Wednesday, April 5th. Technically, if you went at midnight, April 5th, you could have seen it then. I know a lot of people did that. So I didn't want to do a non-spoiler review because a lot of you guys already seen it. So we watched it yesterday. We went to Universal Studios Hollywood, and we kind of planned it. We set it up that way because I wanted to watch this movie at Universal Studios Hollywood at the AMC there, which we did. And then I also wanted to go to Super Nintendo World before or after. Well, we ended up doing both, before and after watching the movie. So it actually worked out. It was cool and everything. So now we're doing a spoiler review of the Super Mario Brothers movie. And I know that Matthew liked this more than I did. But like what we always do when it comes to, reviews of movies and so forth, I like to do the positives and the negatives and so on. So I'm definitely doing that. So again, this is a spoiler review of the Super Mario Brothers movie. And some of the main positive thing here is, of course, the visuals, the animation, Illumination did the animation here for this Super Mario Brothers movie, and it looks awesome, looks great. There's a scene that there's a lot of water going on, and it looks like amazing. It looks really, really great. You can see, all the Mario Land, all the little characters, the backgrounds, and stuff like that. That looks really, really good. So I definitely enjoyed that. Let me see here. So that's one of the positive things. The animation is top notch in this Super Mario Brothers movie. I'm gonna go into the voice talents. So we have obviously Chris Pratt and what's her name?
Anna Taylor-Joy.
Anna Taylor-Joy, yeah, playing the princess. Jack Black playing Bowser. And some other actors portraying these iconic Nintendo characters, Super Mario Brothers characters, and so forth. So there was always the controversy, the issue that Chris Pratt voicing Mario was going to be a problem. And at the beginning of the movie, they do this little commercial of the little plumbing business. So they save money. Mario and Luigi, they save money and did paid for a commercial, and then they're in the commercial, and then that's when you hear Chris Pratt's Mario voice. So he did the voice. From my understanding, it was Chris Pratt, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, I think it was Chris Pratt, because I know there was, I think the actor who did the voice of Mario in the games, I believe he was in the movie as well.
He popped up like twice and did a Mario hop, and then
yes. So he did that, but Chris Pratt actually does the Mario voice. And I mean, he was fine as the Mario voice that we saw in the commercial. Now, that's not his actual voice in the movie. And I know there might be an issue with some people. And I don't know if I would actually like that Mario voice for 90 minutes. Maybe it'll be okay. I don't know. But we do get a glimpse as to what it would sound like. So that was kind of interesting that they did that. And I mean, Chris Pratt was fine as Mario. He's Chris Pratt. He did a couple things that were very Mario-like, but ultimately his voice was Chris Pratt's voice. It wasn't the Mario that we know, which is fine. And then the actor who plays Luigi, I think it's Charlie Day. I don't remember.
Yeah, Charlie Day, I think.
So he does the voice of Luigi. He was fine. He was fine in it too. Jack Black was really good as Bowser, for sure. He did a really good job playing the character, which I was kind of surprised about. And then we hear him in the trailer, so that was fine too. And then Anna Taylor-Joy, same thing, played the princess, voice is fine. So most of the cast was fine. There's one that kind of took me out of it, which is going to be in the negatives part. But overall, the voice talent was fine. And then there are many references to the games that worked in this movie here. Let me try to find here it is. So yes, a lot of references. At one point, Mario is actually playing NES, the regular Nintendo. He's actually playing it. So that was kind of interesting. And then there's a lot of things that he does. There's a scene where he's like running around the town or whatever, the city in Brooklyn, and then he's jumping on things, and then he ends up going on top of does a little thing with the flag.
Yeah.
So that was kind of cool. Just like little references like that we see throughout the movie. I thought that was cool. That was definitely for us Mario fans. So that was cool. So those are some of the positives on my part. Now, Matthew, what are some of your positive? What are some of the things that you liked about Super Mario Brothers?
I did like the animation, like you said. I'm pretty sure the scene with the water you're talking about was when they fell off Rainbow Road.
Yes.
Yeah. I that's when I realized, like, dang, this movie looks incredible.
Yeah.
And I like how they incorporated most of the things, like the carts for Mario Kart, and then Rainbow Road. Like, seeing the that's when I saw that trailer that revealed all that, that kind of like set my expectations lower. I thought that was just like, oh, they're just trying to throw that in, to please fans.
Yeah.
But I did like how they incorporated it, all coming from the Donkey Kong Island.
Yeah.
So I did enjoy that. Jack Black as Bowser was probably like the perfect casting in my head. The way that they made him, he sang songs and stuff.
Yeah.
I thought he was a highlight.
So you think Jack Black was the highlight as
Yeah.
Bowser? Now you also mentioned something about, because I never played the Mario Odyssey.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So the whole thing with the wedding, that's part of that game?
Yeah, when he first was practicing his asking out of Peach and he had the wedding hat on, that gave me a bit of joy. And then towards the end, when they actually did the whole wedding thing, that actually really made me quite happy.
Okay. Now I never played the Odyssey game. I played a lot of the Mario games, especially the first ones. The first three, and then the Super Mario World and all that stuff. So I played a lot of those. Just that one that you mentioned, the Odyssey one. I haven't played that one. So it looks like they reference a lot of the Super Mario Brothers movies. I'm sorry, Super Mario Brothers games into this movie. And then of course we have Donkey Kong, who's part of this movie, which I was kind of surprising that they would add him. Like when they first announced that there's going to be a Super Mario Brothers movie and it was actually moving forward, I was kind of surprised that they're going to bring in Donkey Kong into this one that quickly in the first one. So that's where we're going to get into the negatives of this thing. Now, of course, I don't have any issue with Donkey Kong. The character is just Seth Rogen playing the character did kind of take me out of it a couple times. So, and I think that was kind of your same idea with that too, right, Matthew?
Yeah, I didn't hear Donkey Kong. I just heard Seth Rogen.
Yeah, and I don't have an issue with Seth Rogen. Like, I like Seth Rogen. A lot of his movies that he's been in or was a part of, there's a lot of his movies that I did like. So I don't have an issue with Seth Rogen. It's just that him as Donkey Kong, it really did take me out of it. So that's my one of the negatives there. Any other negatives for you, Matthew?
Well, most of the voice acting was just okay. I didn't really like. I think it was Cranky Kong, the king of the monkeys.
Yeah.
When he started talking like that, really took me out of it. I was just like, dang, this guy is not really giving a good performance. And that's the first poor thing that I felt towards this movie.
All right, so just a couple of negatives thing there, and so again, when it comes to some of the negatives, I already mentioned, Donkey Kong or whatever. One of the other things, I think probably the main thing, at least for me, was the story. So now we also understand that this is a kids movie, right? So it's a kids movie. So I think that didn't really put too much effort in the story, which is fine. Like I said, I guess they just wanted to market it to the kids, sort of. So they didn't want to make too much of a complicated story, and it is just a Mario Brothers movie, Mario Brothers game with a basic story. I do think they should have put just a little bit more effort when it comes to the story of this Super Mario Brothers movie, because some of the parts were kind of dull when it comes to the story, the quote unquote story of it.
Inconvenient.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, it's like I said, you can just go back to the whole thing. This is a kids movie, which it is. But I always go back to a lot of filmmakers like Pixar and all that stuff. They they put an effort in their stories, right? So we have Pixar movies that appeal to kids but also appeal to adults. So there is always a mixture, a way that you can do both. You don't just have to do this is a kids movie, it's animation, so we're just gonna do the most basic shit in a story, even with an animated movie. There's a lot of things that they could do with Super Mario Brothers. There's a lot of cool characters, a lot of cool visuals, a lot of things that you can do with mushrooms, with stars, with sunflower. There's a lot of things that they can do. The Mario Kart thing. So there's a lot of things that they could have done with the story, but they decided to do the most basic thing. So that's definitely a negative for me. Now, that is part of the reason why my grade for this movie is a bit low. Well, it's still a positive grade, but it's lower than like Matthew's. So the story was pretty significant on my part, but I still overall enjoyed the movie. There's a lot of cool stuff in it. I am gonna watch it again. But ultimately, Matthew, did you have any negatives? Because I know you liked this movie a lot more than I did. So, did you have any negatives at all?
Well, like you said, the story. I did think the whole. Like when I look at this movie and then I look like Mario's role in this movie is he's kind of like no one, and so this kind of takes me back to the Lego Movie, which had Wild Style, who was similar to Peach in this movie. Where like she's the warrior, she's the one that like is supposedly like good at everything, and then there's Emmett, who's like no one, but he's supposedly supposed to be the chosen one or something.
And the main character in the Lego Movie is Chris Pratt, right? So Chris Pratt again.
So they could have done something to like have a reason for her to even like bring Mario along, because he does that one training course at the beginning of the movie. And he doesn't even complete it with all the power-ups and everything, and Peach is able to extremely easily with no power-ups. So like, what is kind of the point to bring Mario along?
So the story pretty weak. I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard that before. Critics, reviewers. The story is pretty weak. But it wasn't bad enough or weak enough that I didn't enjoy the movie. I still enjoyed it quite a bit. So, I mean, it's still a positive recommendation for the few people who haven't seen it, because looking at the box office numbers this weekend, it made $146 million Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and it made a shitload on Wednesday and Thursday already. So this is definitely going to be a very profitable movie, and obviously we have the mid-credit scene and a post-credit scene, and the post-credit scene is setting up a new Super Mario Brothers movie, which I'm hoping will be better, at least story-wise, but they may not. They may just stick to, let's just do the basic story again. So, but it looks like we're going to have Yoshi. We're going to have Yoshi in the new Super Mario Brothers movie whenever that comes out, maybe 3-4 years from now. So I'm excited to see that. So I'm, it's a decent movie. It's a good movie for me to say, I'm excited for the next one. So it's a good movie here overall. So Matthew, any final thoughts before we get into the grade of Super Mario Brothers, the movie?
No, well, this is like the adaptation that I at least like. This is like the not the minimum, but it's pretty good for an adaptation. I did watch the old cartoon when I was a kid and the old Mario movie, and I would say this is definitely better than those two. So it does kind of like make the experience better for me as a Mario fan.
All right, so I think we're ready for the grade, right?
Yes.
So here we go. So I guess you can see me there, Gio's grade. It's a see it, grade B minus. So with the movie canon rating system or grading system, we use the 3 S's: see it, stream it, or skip it. So those are the three S's. So this is still a see it. So like I said, it was still recommending this movie. It was still entertaining. It was still fun, and I enjoyed it. Still to recommend it. So it's a see it, grade B minus. And then Matthew, are you able to see your grade there?
No, but I think it should be an A minus.
So we have, that's Matthew's grade. So it's a see it, grade A minus.
Yes.
And of course, I'm going based on your grade again.
Yes.
That you posted on social media. So Matthew gave this A minus. So it's a see it. Is that correct, Matthew?
Yes.
Okay, so A minus. So again, two different perspectives: millennial versus Gen Z. Matthew being Gen Z, obviously. So two different perspectives. Matthew liked the movie a little bit more, giving it an A minus, and I liked it, but not as much as him. I gave it a B minus. So overall, highly recommended. A lot of you guys already saw it, which is perfectly good. I'm sure it'll still make a lot more money next week. I'm planning on watching it again next week. So there's that.